Are you going to start it?
You always start it.
But what about...
This is the start, but
What?
I'll follow your... I'll follow your lead. I'm just like...
What?
Shall I do it?
Do it.
What episode? What episode is it?
Episode 8. Welcome everyone
to
episode 8, our final one in this season. And we're going to speak about being mindful, mindfulness in general.
Being present.
Where do we want to start with being mindful?
How did you first come to mindfulness?
I first came to mindfulness, weirdly, it was, my mum was down in 2011. Before she retired, she was quite really seriously unwell. And the job I was in at the time, very stressful in mental health services, and it was just a lot of stress everywhere, so there wasn't any place to find any solace. And do you know what I googled? Because I didn't really know much of mindfulness back then, was how to cope with stress in a spiritual way.
No way.
This is me as a mental health nurse, and then it just came up with mindfulness. So then the journey started. There was loads going on in the NHS trust I was working for at the time. And then I just started doing some very basic mindful exercises. As in, the first ones I was trying was basically just noticing the breath. That was it. And it was just, what I noticed at the time was how fast my mind was when I first started. As in, I'd sit down for a practice of just noticing the breath, as in the breath being the anchor. And I would get up after like 30 seconds of, didn't even know I was getting up. And didn't even know that my mind was wandering anywhere. It was, I would be up and in automatic pilot, old habitual patterns, and it would maybe take me a couple, 2 or 3 minutes before I'd noticed that I was out of the chair, just doing my normal day-to-day stuff. So it was an eye-opener to how busy your mind can be if you're not aware of it. Yeah. So that was my first starting practice of mindfulness. What about yours?
Before we move to that, I've noticed that you mentioned noticing a lot in that.
Yeah.
Not that I'm analysing what you've said, but we're therapists, aren't we? So we hear. Not that other people don't hear stuff.
I suppose in my practice, in my therapy practice, but also day-to-day life, I probably use the word notice a lot, because I think if you can use that word as almost like an anchor to what you're noticing, because then you're getting into the notice part of you, the observer, the noticing part, as in you're just noticing stuff, whether it's your thoughts, your feelings, whether it's stuff outside of you. Yeah, I think that's something that's just naturally happened over the years. I use the word noticing a lot, which is probably quite a grounding word in itself, isn't it?
Totally.
So good noticing, Rob. Good noticing.
Noticing about the noticing.
Yeah. Who's that then? Who's noticing that? Oh, we're getting too profound. Go back.
So I was working in the NHS in a primary care mental health service. Quite stressed because obviously the turnover is like profound, isn't it? And you just can't keep up with expectations of people coming in and what's needed and what's required with cuts and things. And then there was a mindfulness taster session, and I was like, I might go. And a colleague had said she'd been, you'll know who it is, but she said, and she got a lot of reaction, why don't you go? But I think what the team was noticing is I was pretty stressed, and I was verbalising because the team were quite older and didn't always express how they were feeling. They were just different, and I was more verbal. So I was probably expressing the team's angst as well. So I went and I was like, I'd probably gone in way too open-minded, expecting way too much. What I was noticing from my own experience back then is I wanted something profound and to change me and to alter. I was looking more for the spiritual side of it. So I went to the taster session and totally signed up for the 8-week course. Never thought in a million years I'd be teaching it. But there was a radical shift in our seeing things from that perspective of noticing the noticing about the noticing. And then them choice points, I think that's what it's really helped me with.
What did you sticking with the word of noticing, when you first started, what was your noticing points?
There was a lot of stuff inside. There was a lot of like stress, anxiety. I had depression twice. There were some of those residual symptoms. I noticed that my perfectionist tendencies way more, trying to do everything for the team and everything for clients, and I'd seen more the patterns of my own burnout because of wanting to please people back then, and so a lot of stuff arrived. There was a lot of stuff to sit with, and I couldn't believe how mindfulness held it all. And then give you options afterwards. It wasn't just let's hold it all and don't do nothing with it. I was like, oh, so you can hold this stuff and then solve problems. That sort of blew my mind.
Yeah, it was like the same for me. It was, I think I noticed that I had a very, very busy, analytical, judging mind, judging of others, judging of the world, and I remember when I first was trying it out, because it was when I'd done the MBSR course, we were given Mark Williams, his what's it called, the album that he does. It's on Spotify. If anyone wants to listen to it, it's Finding Peace in a Frantic World.
Of course, yeah.
And I just remember listening to some of his guided exercises of no matter where your mind goes. What was profound for me at the time was that firstly I would notice where my mind would go and then think, oh, I'm not doing this right. As in the whole, what I had as a preconceptual belief about what mindfulness was is silence all thoughts, remain calm no matter what, and be this almost like Buddha. I think that was my weird belief before I knew anything about, or before I experienced it myself. And when I was doing some of the guided practices, I began to have a newfound understanding of it from the angle of, oh, this is just getting familiar with your mind. This is not about controlling the mind. This is not about trying to regulate anything. It's just about noticing what it is. I read something ages ago about, and it was such a lovely analogy of mindfulness from a perspective of you're just getting to know yourself on a deeper level. And it was this, I think he was a Hindu monk or a Hindu priest, whatever they call them, I don't know. And he was talking about, imagine you meet a new friend and you agree every week you'll sit in a cafe or sit somewhere and talk to one another, and it'll start off a very trivial conversation, and it'll start off with what's the world like and what your tastes and what your dislikes and all that type of stuff is. If you do that every week for an hour, how well will you know that friend if that's a consistent meeting in 2 years' time? You'll know them really well, wouldn't you? The conversation will go into deeper levels of getting to know each other. There will be conflicts between one, there will be disagreements. And he describes mindfulness as that, as in, if you treat yourself as your friend, and all you're doing is when you come to sit on a chair, whether you come to do walk, or whatever it is, just being with yourself, is that you're getting to know yourself as a deep, loving friend from all perspectives. And I thought, what a lovely way to see mindfulness, rather than it just being this, because it's trendy, isn't it now?
Oh yeah,
it's massively trendy.
Absolutely.
And to see it as just, well, all you're doing is just getting to know yourself,
befriending yourself. And you mentioned the word familiar. So how have you come familiar in your own befriending?
Ooh, say that again.
So you mentioned familiar. You've become familiar with yourself more. So we did the noticing piece. Then you said, like, I'm really familiar now. And then you've talked about being friendly and having that different relationship with yourself and others, of course. But what have you become familiar with in the way that you've befriended yourself through mindfulness?
I suppose if we were to think about the word unfamiliar to start with, then asking our listeners when you feel unfamiliar with something, what do you feel? And we'll just let everyone just ponder that question for a little while. And it would usually be fear, wouldn't it? The unknown.
It's definitely behind it,
No,
isn't
I
it?
suppose familiar and unfamiliar is known and unknown. And no matter what the familiar and unfamiliar are, once it's familiar, then it's less scary.
Yeah.
Even if it's really scary anyway. And you see that with soldiers. They get familiar with war, and then the nervous system, the body, the mind gets okay with that surrounding because it knows how to navigate the risks. It knows how to mediate, it knows how to regulate the body in them scenarios because it's now familiar. So I suppose from my perspective, getting familiar with parts of the mind that I never knew existed, then even the darkest parts or the traumatic parts or the people-pleasing parts, the parts that get overused, once you then get to know them by noticing them, then you get really familiar with them. And familiar is safer than unfamiliar. So then it's like, oh, I thought you were a part of me I thought was scary, but once I sit with it, then it gets less scary.
Yeah. Face the fear. Excuse me, I think I've built a career on fear. I mean, I don't want to make people scared with intention, but sitting in the room and helping people through mindfulness or my own practice and what you've said there, becoming familiar, Alan, with, the unknown, because it worries us all, doesn't it? It scares us all. Or, I mean, some people might like it more. They might have that type of personality where they get more adrenaline from some of that stuff. But fundamentally, I think the Buddhists believe that if you strip everything back in Buddhist psychology, there's fear, and it's often fear of death. So the more that we're sitting and being with things and being familiar with the uncomfortable, the difficultness, and that's what we're going to build on in the next series, isn't it? Just episodes where we can come a little closer, or have a closer look without unraveling. What's kept your ego safe? And I know that sounds super fancy, but when you're doing your practice, because some people, as they're coming to it for the first time or they've done it a million times, when you can, if you're sitting with a lot, I've noticed the familiarity of sitting with a lot of my own stuff. I feel like my head's going to explode, or my body can't sit still in some of the practices. What has helped you not unravel then, or if you are starting to get too deep and profound in your practice, what brings you back?
I suppose what I've found from my own, not my own personal practice, but working with others who would find it difficult to sit with thoughts, sit with emotions, sit with the body, is if you strip it back to start with. I always use the analogy of the mind tells a story, the body feels, and the physical body just senses the world through pure sensation. So if me and you were having the same physical sensation of the heart beating fast, then how would you interpret fast heartbeat?
Depends on context. So if I'm like just sat in a client session, for instance, and it's going too fast, I'm probably, I'm getting anxious. If I'm being passionate about something and, you're getting a dopamine or a serotonin hit, I think I'd interpret that as excitement and all right.
So it's like, I always kind of, and I'll answer the question in a minute, I know I'm detouring, but if you think about the sensations the same, so the heart is fast, so it's a fast sensation in the chest. Now, the interpretation of that is, I'm excited, because it could be an exciting conversation, or it could be an exciting scenario. Where if it's a sad scenario, it's like, I'm feeling anxious about this, and I feel a bit scared about this. Where's this going to go? Or if someone's got health anxiety and their heart starts to beat faster, I'm going to have a heart attack, or I'm going to die, or whatever. So the sensation's the same. So further up the systems you go, and if I were to just purely speak about from a biological perspective, nervous system, operates on sensations, as in one word answers: tight, light, pain, heavy, constricted. There's so many different sensations, but you can't really describe them all in one word. As soon as you enter into that emotional world of perceiving the sensation, as in, oh, this feels exciting, this feels painful, or this feels sad, and then as soon as you push that further up the system into the big thinking mind, it'll just create a story from the sensation and from the emotion. So I suppose kind of going back to how I contained my practice over years was allowing the body to feel the sensations. So as in, just take it back, take it back, take it back. As in, right, what is, noticing the story, and then just getting back to a layer beyond the thinking mind. Because the thinking mind's almost like a director or author. And then the emotions are almost like the flavours, the spices. And then behind that is just the raw reason of why that's happening. So I found over years is if I can sit with body sensations and just see them as that, raw sensing sensations in the body, then I'm aware that when it gets pushed up into the more complex systems, the story mind, then it's just a story. And my example would be when I had a lot of health anxiety linked to kind of my dad's heart attacks, and I would have I would feel stressed with external stresses, internal stresses, and then the story would be, well, is this genetic? Is this could be, he's had 4 heart attacks, that means I'm getting to my midlife, and am I going to have a heart attack? Am I going to die of it? All that was a story of stabbing pains in the arm and tight sensations in the chest. So over time I just sat with the tightness, and it released, and there was lots of emotion. I just allowed myself just to be with the physical sensations in the chest. And over time the anxiety story lessened, so it just got quieter. Because I was just being with the heart, being with the chest, and probably the stuck emotions and the stuck sensations that were just residing in the body, rather than it being a story. And that story is, sometimes it comes, sometimes it goes, but it's not a big story that plays through my day. Because I allowed myself just to be with the difficult sensations in the body that a lot of us just avoid, don't we?
Absolutely.
So I suppose if anyone is listening who's beginning, then the more you can sit with your body, then your body will get familiar with these are sensations which come and go. Because imagine, there's that place, isn't there? There's a few in Britain, I think there's a few in America, where it's the quietest rooms on earth have got loads of soundproofing. And I think there's one down south somewhere where if you sit in it, and people can't sit in it for very long because you can't hear anything apart from your own sensations in the body. You can begin to hear your heartbeat, people can hear the blood moving through the body. It's that quiet, and people leave within 10, 20 seconds because they're uncomfortable with, what is this? Could this be something wrong with me? Or
of course.
when it's just sensations that we never really hear, do we? So I suppose for anyone who's wanting to begin mindfulness, it's like riding a bike, isn't it? You need some sort of starting point to be with the body. Because you're in the body, so you might as well get familiar with whatever sensations are in there.
Totally.
And I'm noticing that I'm talking more.
Because I'm in my body listening And what I'm really intrigued with is the stories. So when you first come to mindfulness and your wonderful story there, the nuances and the story going somewhere else and then coming back, that's what stories do, don't they? And when you first go, the story's powerful. And then the story about the story, I don't want to let this story go because I'm attached to this and this story is me.
Yeah.
And then as that leaves, you're like, well, who am I and what's it all about? And I think sometimes there's validity in the story, isn't there? If you haven't got health, I've experienced health anxiety, but then when there's health concern or healthier concerns about a situation, then the story says, go and do this thing after your meditation, or ring the doctor. No, I'm fine. You know, like some of our grandparents and parents would have been like.
Yeah.
So I think there's something powerful in the narrative of the story that sometimes you can like detach, sometimes you can attach in a healthy way to get a different outcome, can't you? I think that's what it's taught me as I sit and I'm with my ego, for want of a better word, and I'm getting caught up or not caught up. I think it can help me afterwards go, well, that's a bit of a myth. I seen something the other day and it said with the stories in the body, then consciousness closes down and the brain goes, what we doing with this? And then once it's figured out and it's more wobbly if it's a bit of a concern, a worry, and then concern, it's trying to get us to fix something. And then we're back to consciousness, and I think you get consciousness back through the body, don't you? But I think that first place for me, I couldn't stand it. Being with my body, doing body scans, I was like, I'm not going to be able to stick this out. 6 a week, you had to do. And they were for about 40 minutes. Mark Williams, even though he's absolutely incredible, the stuff in my body. So if people are listening and they're having a strong reaction, I think it's normal at first. Sometimes there's nothing, isn't there? You can do scans or body scans in a room with people. And I've found nothing, people just say, nothing there. But nothingness for me is still something.
Yeah.
I think when I first came to it, that was way too much for me to cope with. So I had to go to more of the sitting things and more of the meditation in motion to be with my body in a different way, because I couldn't cope with the. It was like being in that room for me, you know, that quiet room.
Yeah.
It just felt too intense. So. And
it is, I suppose, you have to respect your body of what it's got in there too, because some people's pasts, some people's intergenerational pasts are heavy, aren't they? Heavier more than others.
Yeah.
And it's respecting what body you've been given, because some people's bodies will be lighter than others. I don't mean from a mass perspective, I mean from an energetic perspective. And if someone's got lots of trauma or just lots of heaviness for whatever reason, even if it's physical pain from accidents or injuries, then who wants to really sit with pain? Because you'd be a masochist, wouldn't you?
Totally.
So just to be, I'm going to go and sit with my pain today. No one really chooses to do that, but if you choose to sit and get familiar with the pain, then the pain weirdly becomes less, because the story attached to the pain starts to lessen, and then you've just got the pain.
Yeah, processes, doesn't it? In some cases.
Yeah. So, I suppose, like, if we were to imagine a listener asking us a question right now through that lens, what question would they ask? A beginner.
It's normally, isn't it? What's the point?
Yeah.
I haven't got a bigger one. I haven't got time. I haven't got time.
How did you find time to begin with?
I just made myself get the time. I was like, I'll nick a bit from there, doom scrolling at this bit. I just had to. And I know not everybody can, but I'm a single parent. I worked full time. I was at uni. So for me, when others in the group were going, we haven't got time, and I went, listen, I've got time poverty. But I managed to find it from places because I just felt I wanted to be invested into it. If there's less time, then you do short practices, don't you? And even a minute a day, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. But I know it's a big, when you're juggling at first in the groups, I haven't got time for this shit. And you're like, and people's reaction, or the people pleasers will make too much time. I'm a people, I used to be. So I think that's where I was trying to balance, just nicking it from everywhere else.
Yeah. And I was the same to start with, but when I was talking to one of the teachers of, my example was when I was first doing body scans, and on the 8-week course, and then they give you loads of exercises to do, and one was a body scan on an evening, and I couldn't find a space. I could find the time, but I couldn't find the space.
Yeah.
So, and I brought this up in the session. I said, look, I can't find the silent space to do this body scan because I had 2 young kids at the time, and they were bouncing all over the place, and the teacher said to me, we'll incorporate them into the practice. Just notice them. So I thought, oh, I never thought of that. I literally never thought, because I suppose, again, sometimes having a preconceived idea of what mindfulness should look like, or a body scan should look like, either laying on the floor and just being in a silent space where you're just scanning your body. Well, I didn't have that luxury of having a silent space.
Yeah.
So I played Sleeping Lions. So I could still scan my body whilst playing with the children, whilst noticing that I'm noticing, which was a profound shift of these statements of mindfulness isn't for me. I haven't got time, I haven't got space, I'll do it another time.
Yeah.
Then just notice the statements when you do mindfulness.
Yeah.
So then I suppose for any individuals who are very, very busy, then notice your practice will probably be just notice how busy you are.
Yeah.
And just notice how busy your life is. That's a really good starting practice. As in,
Absolutely.
rather than the traditional take yourself to a stool or a chair or the floor and sit and be silent.
Yeah.
And do all the humming noises, all the stereotypical stuff that you like associated with. It's just notice.
Yeah.
So notice how busy your life is, or notice how sad you are, or notice how happy you are. Just notice whatever you notice. Because once you start to notice, it's weird, isn't it? It is a profound shift of the more you notice, the more you notice.
Isn't it phenomenology, the study of a phenomena? So it's in CBT and mindfulness. And it sounds fancy, but it's just looking at a thing. And the more you look, just gives you more options. But going back to that informal approach you used, so you use more of the informal practice to start. And at some point I know you'd have been doing the more formal things. And formal's doing it on purpose, isn't it? It's making time. When I was doing my formal stuff, I remember sitting in the corner of the room on my stool with the shrine behind me. That was all that I don't know, it was a lot of stuff from Waterstones and rocks off the beach. I was like, oh, behave. It's cleared that after a time. And if you're doing that, there's nothing wrong with it. And the girls like fighting downstairs, but every time I'd meditate, it's like when you're on the phone. And I come down and I went, do you realise I'm trying to meditate? And they were howling. They were nearly grown by then. And in that moment, I noticed, I was like, well, this isn't mindful. This is heartfeltness, as they call mindfulness, don't they? Coming from the heart. And I was like, behave. Just sit with the buses. I lived on a busy main road. Sit with the buses, the neighbours chattering, and car doors banging. But I think a lot of us, at first and sometimes still, trying to find this place that you want to sit in a cave in quiet. And then when you're there, I've been to Saltburn and sat in bliss. And I'm like, oh, there's too much going on in my own mind. There's stillness out here. So I think that's what helped me, doing the formal on purpose, but then being informally with it. It's just stuff happening and
eventually, doesn't it? I suppose you eventually move through practices that serve you in them times. As in, I used to do a lot of sitting meditation. You'd sit for sometimes hours. And then I would do more laying meditation. I would do movement meditations, meditating on music, listening to music and feeling what music does and what's the music bringing up and being mindful of that. And more recently, just breath work, as in noticing the breath, different paces of the breath. So I suppose for any beginners, it's not always going to be the same, as it never is. It's going to constantly evolve like everything else does. And it's. Do you think it's like you have to commit to it?
Absolutely. If you don't, and I know your practice will get wobbly, mine has over the years. there's times when you're doing a lot of practice, and not trying to overachieve. It's just that's the rhythm of it. That's the pace.
Yeah.
But I think it's like anything, isn't it? If there's no commitment to doing this podcast, no commitment to doing your work, it just becomes too informal. I think the informal thing just gets, oh well, I'm doing things, I'm washing the pots and I'm paying attention to the bubbles, and that's a nice add-in. I think without the commitment, it's like anything, it's just superficial.
Don't you think sometimes doing the informal stuff ends up being, the more you do it, it's I would probably say it's more of an expert meditation.
Yeah.
To notice your entire day.
Completely.
To meditate all day long by just noticing your movements, your thoughts when you're driving, blah, 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 blah. It's probably more of an expert level to do what's called an informal practice, as it's probably the most advanced formal practice.
But that's because you've committed to formal. So when you do informal, you've learned all of this stuff as you sit and sharpen your saw and keep your tools clean, which I know it's a really big ask to do sometimes, isn't it? That the informal and the formal, they
start to blend with them.
They start to come.
You start to embody it, don't you?
That's it. It's the embodiment of it, isn't it? And I think I supervise people. I try mindfulness in sessions. It's sometimes where I go, oh well, I've just made that cup of tea, very loosely. So I've been mindful, but you haven't committed to a practice. Yeah. It's like the yin and the yang of it. It needs both, doesn't it? So that they're just knit together.
I suppose it's like, a footballer or a martial arts expert or someone who's very, very skilled at something can't be skilled at that if they don't practice it. Can they? They can't just say, well, I'll play a Premier League football match on a Sunday, but I don't do any training whatsoever.
Yeah.
You'd notice how bad they are on the pitch straight away. And I suppose mindfulness, practicing it formally, the football pitch is life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because then you can perform this skill in a eventually expert way, because you can navigate the world through. You can navigate the world through the medium and method of noticing, which feels quite peaceful, doesn't it?
And the expert needs the novice, doesn't it, as well? So I'm still novice at this. There's other things I've sort of, I don't know, I just know how to do them. For instance, driving a car, whatever those things. I think that's where it's helped me with coming back all the time with that fresh beginner's perspective of, this is I'm novice at this today. I'm novice at coming being with the breath today, or being with the body, and I've got more comfortable with these experiences. But you're right, if you don't practice, and that's not with punishment, is it, in mindfulness, where I think a lot of my clients go, well, I haven't done it for ages because I feel so bad and guilty and shame and whatever comes up. You get another story about the story. I'm like, well, just get back on your stool. Let all that stuff go, whether you've done it every day for 10 years or whether there's been a gap. Your practice, if you look from an outsider's perspective, will have its own rhythm. And it's not to judge that either, is it?
No, it's not, is it? Because I suppose if we think about most people value very small daily practices as very important. They don't even know that they're daily practices. Brushing your teeth. Now, if we forget to brush our teeth, most of us, and there might be some people out there that will beat themselves up about it, but most of us will go, oh God, I haven't brushed my teeth this morning. And then people go, oh, you're being errant, blah, 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 and have a bit of a joke about it. And then as soon as you meet your toothbrush again, then you brush your teeth. That's all it is. It's nothing complicated. It's, that's an important practice of the day, because you know how important mouth health is. So eventually, by doing a practice like mindfulness, it becomes as important as brushing your teeth. And when your mind wanders off and you realise that it's wandered, you don't beat yourself up about it. You go, oh, there's my mind wandered off. Bring it back to the breath, or bring it back to, or just notice. So that's just like brushing your teeth. Does that make sense?
It does, makes perfect sense.
It's bringing the level of, if you forget, you forget, but you've got a practice there, just like brushing your teeth. And no one's really bothered when you forget brushing your teeth. Just brush your teeth again. That makes sense.
Totally. I seen something the other day and it said people who floss the teeth live longer. And it wasn't the teeth flossing, it was that they're more likely to take care of themselves. And it's the habits in taking care of yourselves, that's why you live longer.
Yeah.
So I think with mindfulness, it's the same thing, isn't it? It's like, I've gone 3 days without sitting on my stool and I'm a mindfulness teacher and I do a podcast and I'm saying all this stuff. So I stopped being embodied. Like, well,
just
go do a mindful walk or,
yeah.
you know, sit for 5 minutes and 5 minutes turns into 10. Not that you're overly obsessed with time, but it's the practice about the practice, isn't it? It's the going back to your befriending and noticing and being familiar with, I've had a couple of runs this week and then there's been a subtle drop. I've done more of the informal, or not that it's this or that, but I think that's what mindfulness has helped me with. Because I think talking to a lot of teachers, being behind the scenes, doing supervision or being in groups where lots of teachers are, I think we're all, not pretending, I think that's a big word, but presuming everybody's doing this every day. Some people are, and that's how it works. I know some people, 20 minutes on a morning, 20 minutes at night, that's what they feel they need to do. Me, I just go with the rhythm of it now. Something says you've got half an hour between your next client, stop faffing, the room's clean, sit, and I go, oh, okay. My own internal dialogue will sit me down, and other days, there isn't the time, so there is the time poverty, but I'm looking through the course of that week where I can keep some of the formal stuff going, because I want to commit to it. What in your commitment to it, what's the healthy side effects to your commitment to mindfulness? How's it helped you? How have you changed? Or how do you feel different?
My commitment to mindfulness over the years is concentration. I'm able to concentrate more. The things I've seen, the benefits I've seen the most personally over how many years? 2011, how many years is that?
It's a long time. Can't do the math.
16 years? Is that I feel calmer in my essence of who I am. I notice more in general. And I suppose from a level of being able to concentrate is I get stuff done. And whether it's washing the pots, whether it's cleaning the house, whether it's having a deadline of a report to write, because I'm mindful, and it's an exercise that you can do in every single moment, then you then whatever task you've got to do in your day, that's the task that you've got to do, so be mindful with it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So it's
It
like
does, yeah.
the biggest thing for me is probably over time of developing that skill of concentration, getting to know myself deeply is I don't give myself any shit any longer, as in I don't judge myself for what I've done, or obviously in certain circumstances if I was doing something wrong or whatever, but
Totally.
But from a general perspective, making little mistakes about stuff or forgetting things, then that's because I'm human. And I will return to the practice of being present.
Yeah.
Because I think the more you're present, the happier life is.
Totally.
Isn't it? So it's
contentment comes, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's my mind wanders less, I would say. So it's something by taking to the floor or to the chair or moving meditation or mindfulness, then I just live more present.
Yeah.
Even if it's being present with the wandering thoughts, because everything just happens now anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Which I know we'll get into more profound stuff, but the more you can concentrate on thoughts, feelings, body sensations, there's a realization that it's constantly moving.
Yeah.
So nothing stays the same. And if you know that, if you have a realization that nothing stays the same, then you're not clinging to stuff. As in, I want that to be like that, and I want this to be like this. well, this being like this is going to change now, and that being like that is going to change in a minute.
Yeah.
So everything's just changing anyway. So then you loosen your attachment to stuff, which is just a nice place to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
What would our final words be to whatever the listeners, whether there's beginners, whether there's intermediates, whether there's advanced people, what would, if we were to give them something to go away with, to either begin a practice or maintain a practice or develop a new practice, what would we say?
I'd say pull a stool up or a chair. If you haven't got any of those, lay down on the floor. Just give it a go, just do it.
Yeah, yeah.
If your mind goes off, that's what it's meant to do. If you think you can't do it and you think you can do it, either way you're right. But just sit on the stool, just be with whatever comes up and just try, just keep going, just keep adding layers and keep coming back every single time. This is the first time you've practiced in this moment right now. I think that's the mantra I live my life by, and it just helps me maintain my practice. Yeah, but that's what I'd say.
A good ending point to season 1. And we shall see you all in season 2.